What's up, everybody? This is Greg with Evangel Brokers, and this is the ADV1 podcast. This is a podcast we come to you each and every weekday with relevant topics and trainings, and we bring on guest speakers. Today, I have the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Jeff Smith with Go Lead Pro. Jeff, how are you doing, man?
I'm great. Thanks for that. If only it were true.
No, it definitely is true. You're the man behind the curtain, just like making all this happen.
I am certainly the man behind the curtain. That's true.
So Jeff, what I'd like to do, it's just to start off, kind of tell people a little bit about yourself and what Go Lead Pro is to Evangel Brokers.
Well, so my story is a pretty typical one of a lot of people that are successful in any kind of sales endeavor. I started out as an athlete, was a basketball player, didn't make it in the NBA, which crushed me. But I was competitive and became a stockbroker right out of college. I was actually fortunate enough to work on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange for a period of time, back when everything was still paper and it was total chaos, but it worked. And so then been involved in the financial markets ever since. I'm an old guy now. I've been in business almost 40 years. And back in those days, we didn't have the internet. We only had 3 forms of advertising, if you don't count yellow pages. We had TV, direct mail, and newspaper. That was it. TV was not targeted, very expensive. Newspaper, you only could reach a certain demographic. And so we were heavy in direct mail and have been for years. About 10 years ago, in fact, when I was a stockbroker, I did have my insurance license back in the 80s, because I was selling annuities to fixed income type clients. And so then fast forward about 10 years ago, I got my license again and started selling. And the leads I was very frustrated with the leads. I knew the IMO that I was working with was cherry picking the leads. And they couldn't figure out how I figured that out, but it wasn't difficult when I have a degree in physics, so I'm very good at math. And so I did some statistical analysis on the leads they were giving me, and it was garbage. Anyway, I ended up with, I switched IMOs, ended up with Chris back in the day, back just after he was getting started. And so I went back to my roots and started doing my own direct mail for my own leads and started writing some business. And Chris is like, "Where are you getting those leads?" And I'm doing it myself. And he goes, "Yeah, nobody does that." And I said, "Well, but I do." And he said, "Okay, mail for my agents too." So we did. We sent out 5,000 pieces the next week, and the rest is history. Here's Go Lead Pro. The difference, and I guess you haven't asked this question yet, but the difference of our leads versus someone else. I've been in the direct mail business almost 40 years. We do things that other people don't, that haven't been in the business that long, which helps get our mail opened. It helps get the responses back quicker. And then the other thing that happens is even for AdvantageOne brokers, unlike most IMOs, when an IMO gets the mail, it goes into some dark hole for 2 or 3 days while it gets processed. And so then the agents get access to those leads, 5 days after we get them. Whereas AdvantageOne brokers, we process the leads the same day we receive them. They get scanned and uploaded into the Opt system immediately, same day. Opt works on them and they're available to the agents the next morning. And so our big thing is, if you've got good data that you're sending mail to, you've got a good letter that doesn't play games, no Walmart gift cards, none of that garbage. We tell them what it is. We tell them why they need it. We get the lead back relatively quickly and we process it immediately. And that's what makes a good lead. And so that's what we've done in the direct mail for mortgage protection. Final expense mail has been difficult of late because Mutual of Omaha just by themselves sends out 500,000 pieces a week. And so they've really hurt the returns for companies like us in the final expense space. And but mortgage protection is still going strong. The lead returns are down a little bit because there's a few more people in the game, but our leads continue to show the best value. So it's why AdvantageOne has partnered with us. But I think we're here to talk about a different kind of lead. So
yeah, no, but thank you for sharing all that, Jeff. A lot of people are always asking, what makes the mailer leads different at Evangel Brokers, and the answer is Jeff. Jeff
But
Jeff
yeah,
makes the leads different. He's got the
yeah,
secret sauce. So I appreciate you kind of explaining that for the agents. So
sure, yeah,
so yeah, like you just mentioned, we're here to actually talk about a new type of lead that's being rolled out. It's been rolled out. It's been kind of tested first, and it's been rolled out slowly. But for those of you watching, I think you'll be real excited. I'm gonna let Jeff take it from here. But this is an IUL or a tax-free retirement lead that's generated online. A lot of times you can use it for IULs. I know that there are some people that are getting sales with annuities off of it, but very high intent. But Jeff, I'm going to go ahead and share your screen, and we can jump
yeah.
into it.
So yeah, I'll get to that script in a moment. Let's talk for a second about the elements that make a good lead. Just like our mortgage protection mail lead, we don't play games with the content because today's consumer is not stupid. Their attention span is lower than ever. Thanks to Amazon, that has taught everybody you can have whatever you want right now. And so with a low attention span, you've got to get engagement. And if you don't get engagement during the lead creation process, if you're not saying something that's relevant to them in the situation they're in, if they're not targeted, if your advertising has reached the wrong person, you'll fail. And so we basically use the same idea for the mortgage protection direct mail lead that we do for the IUL lead. It's a very targeted advertising campaign that finds people who are sensitive to their retirement situation, and the focus is tax-free. And so I'm going to switch screens here, switch documents. So this is the IUL lead components, and I'll just read it. The IUL lead prospects responded to advertising about the tax-free benefits of an IUL. So the idea here about the IUL, and this will only make sense to agents that understand the IUL. The IUL, you get the same benefits that you do of a fixed income annuity. You get market gains when the market goes up. You don't have losses when the market goes down. And in fact, some carriers, and I'm thinking specifically of F&G, even when the market goes down, they also give you a guaranteed rate of return during the down years. I don't know what it is right now because I haven't been producing for a long time, but it's better than zero when everybody else is losing money. Mm-hmm. And so it's a very relevant topic for those people. And so then these are the questions that they answer during the process. Number one, what aspects of the IUL are important to you? During the advertising, the engagement period, we're giving them information about what makes an IUL special. We don't call it an IUL because consumers don't know what that is. We basically call it, this tax-free retirement account, and how it's different from a 401k or an IRA. And that's because it's tax-free. Why is it tax-free? Because you can borrow out the cash value, and you never have to pay it back because it's always covered by the death benefit in the policy. And so we ask, as part of the lead procurement process, question number one is, what aspects of this are important to you? And they answer that. Then we ask, what investment strategy are you currently using? 401ks, IRAs, real estate, trading accounts, cash, whatever. And they tell us, this is what I'm currently doing. We then ask them what their current source of income is. Do they own a business, self-employed? Are they working? Are they retired? Whatever. And then we ask two really important questions. How old are you now? And then what is your planned retirement age? And so those two questions, while they seem a bit innocuous, they're really the most important questions of the survey, because it tells the agent that gets the lead, what kind of a lead are they? If they're 45 and their planned retirement age is 65, and they're already involved in 401ks and IRA, they already are retirement minded, but they have time to make an IUL really work. So walking in the door that they're an IUL prospect. If how old are you is 63 and the planned retirement age is 65, Well, this isn't an IUL person, but they already answered the question. They have a 401k and an IRA and whatever else they've said. And so that is automatically an annuity lead. And they're ripe for a rollover because we've already talked to them about the risks involved of market-based retirement accounts, anything in mutual funds or stocks, things like that. You have this thing called timing risk. And timing risk is simply if it's bad timing when the market crashes, your retirement is screwed because you don't have time to recover. And these types of accounts, like fixed indexed annuities and IULs, in down years, you don't lose anything, which means when the market does turn around and starts going back up, instead of spending the first year or two of the new upturn making money like you do with a fixed income and a fixed index annuity or an IUL, you spend time recovering. Well, if it happens at the wrong time of your life, you have time to recover. And so anybody over the age 50, 55 should not be in a risk-based retirement account situation purely because of timing risk. And so if they're close to retirement, then we know we've got an annuity lead. You mentioned testing. Yes, we've tested this. We've vetted it. We've probably produced over 400 leads now since we rolled out the program earlier this year. We've had reports of 7-figure annuities. We had a report recently of a $26,000 a year, $26,000 a year in annual premium case just recently. And just prior to that, we got one that was a $2 million premium finance case. So these leads, they flat out turn over the rocks and they find money. And if the agent truly understands the annuity game and the IUL game, I don't know that there's a better lead out there. But it's been well vetted, well tested, and in fact, there's quite a few Advantage One agents who have already used it and written some pretty good business. So there's the overview of the components that make the lead. The other thing that we provide, and this was also put together by John Doe of Advantage One, who has worked a lot of these types of leads. This is a script that we provide that walks through what to say, when to say it, how to say it, why to say it, that we also provide. So if you understand the type of lead that you're working, then this will make a lot of sense for you and will help, of course.
Okay. And so I want to talk a little bit about like the what the response has been from the lead. I know you talked about some of the successes. What have you seen, or what have the reports been back in terms of kind of the ROI on what this lead's been able to do for agents? And then also, if agents are getting these, how many should they get a week or a month in order to kind of maybe insert this into their business or their rotation of other leads they may be getting?
Yeah, fair question. The ROI is really a moving target because if you've got a street contract at 6% on a fixed indexed annuity, and you get $100,000 rollover, well, you just made $6,000 on that lead. If you find a $500,000 401k and roll that one over, well, you just made $30,000. And so it's difficult to pin down. I mean, it's very easy in the mortgage protection world. You say, okay, I spent $60, $70, whatever you spent on the lead. And out of 10 leads, I set 6 appointments and I sell 4 of them. The average mortgage protection in my market is $1,000 policy. And so you make $4,000 on spending, $600 on leads. That math is pretty easy. And those statistics play out. In the statistical world, we always talk about the law of large numbers versus the law of small numbers. And the larger your sample base, the more the percentages play out. So like a casino, they have a 5% edge in roulette, and they're very careful about the rules of the game if there's only going to be 5 spins today. but because the law of small numbers says you can't trust the statistical averages. And so if you have 5 people hit their number, that's a quick formula for disaster. But they know there's going to be 10,000 spins today across all roulette tables on all floors and all properties, and they know that they win. And so this is no different. It's an expensive lead compared to a mortgage protection lead. They're $185 a piece with a minimum of 10 ordered. And if you only do 10 leads, well, the law of small numbers, you might hit a big home run on your first lead. You might go 10 leads and only get a small policy or so. But we've got reports of agents that get 40 leads a month that are writing 8 to 10 applications. And as you know, IUL cases and annuity cases pay a lot better than just a standard mortgage protection case. So you should see, as with most leads, after the statistics play out, about a minimum of 10 to 1 or higher. And so if you only sold 1 lead out of 10, if it was an average IUL case, it's probably $2,000 or more in annual premium. That would cover your 1850. So there's your 10 time on 1 lead cost. All it takes is 1 annuity or 1 good IUL case, and your IUL your return on investment, your ROI, is covered for the next 6 months, because these find the big dollar cases.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't take very many of those to skew that ROI very much in your favor.
Awesome.
But like any lead program, you need some consistency. So we're careful with these leads. You can't just buy them because you want to buy them. You've got to have some IUL experience. We don't even have these advertised on our website because we don't want to sell them to someone that doesn't understand what they're doing.
Yeah.
They understand what they're doing. It's a fabulous lead. If they don't, they'll fail because they're expensive.
They are expensive. They're 185 or 195 a piece.
185, 10 at a time.
185. You have to order a minimum of 10. They're $185 a piece. These are very high intentional leads. If you know how to work and how to speak on IULs at a high level, if you've been doing the training and you've been certified to say that you can do these leads, then you're ready. And if you're ready, what we're seeing for most of the agents doing this is about a 40% ROI. They'll make about 4 sales out of 10 leads, around about. So there's some that are going to they're hitting like the 30, and there's some that are hitting like the 50. Kind of depends on the person, depends on the area. There's a lot of factors that go into that, but you can almost bank on a 40% ROI, which is really good for an internet lead.
Yeah. Well, let's back up. ROI is return on investment. Those are dollars. You're talking about closing ratio.
Yeah, closing ratios. Yeah, I'm using the most basic, which is you're right, is wrong. But a lot of times when an agent's like, well, what's the ROI? What they're looking for is the closing ratio. Yeah. How many policies can I close if I buy 10 leads, 20 leads, 30 leads, something like that? So and so you bring up a really good point, Jeff. If you look on the lead order form, because you can order these off the lead order form, it says that it has to be a manager approval. Right. And so you have to get an upline approval to say that you are ready to do these and that you have done IUL training, you've been certified in some way. And the certification process is not like there's not a formal certification process. It really is just having a conversation with your upline and showcasing that IULs, you've been going to the training, you're ready to make some sales.
Right. One of the first Advantage One agents, and I don't have his permission to use his name, so I won't, but one of the first Advantage One agents that did start with these leads, in his first 10, he wrote over $250,000 in annuities. And John Doe of Advantage One helped him close those. And so there are cases that you'll need some support, which Advantage One has. And so, anyway, he got, I don't remember how many applications he wrote, but he wrote 2 nice annuities that result was close to it was like 260 or 270,000 total. And so he made, close to 30 grand. Mm-hmm. I guess it was more close to 20,000 on those annuities. So that's a great ROI, and that's what they're capable of. That's what they're designed to do, is find money. Mm-hmm. targeting people that are interested in what their retirement's going to look like.
Absolutely. And Jeff, once someone signs up, they get approved. They can order these leads. They submit an app. They submit a lead order form to get some of these leads, some of these IUL leads. What's the typical process from there? How long? What do they have to do, and how long does it take before, I guess, flash to bang from the time that they order to receiving?
So we have to set up the advertising campaign, which is not trivial. It takes us several days to get that done. The agent has to go to our registration page, which is agentleadregistration.com. And at agent lead registration, they give us their name, their phone number, their email address, and they upload their headshot, as professional as you can get it. iPhones are great. You can get a good picture. But one of the things that we do with our lead that most people don't is, once the person has said, yeah, I want to talk to somebody about this, we know who that lead's going to go to. So we then show them, here's the person who's going to call you. Here's their picture. Here's their phone number. So you can be expecting a call from this person. And by showing them their picture, it removes that weird awkwardness that, that everyone gets when you respond to something online and you go, and they say, yeah, someone will be in touch soon. And you're kind of left with what does that mean? Right. We show the agent's picture, we give them their phone number, and we say, these are the next steps. You're going to get a phone call to find out if this is truly a good fit for you, to find out if you can qualify for it, those kinds of things. And so that's why there's such a high sale of 40%. Well, what's higher than that is if you get 10 mortgage protection leads, you might be able to set 6 appointments. Well, on 10 of these, you can set 8 or 9 appointments, because we've removed that awkwardness. They know, hey, here's a picture of a professional young woman who's they given me her phone number. Crap, I could call her right now if I wanted to. And in fact, that happens. Sometimes the leads won't even wait for a call back. They'll just call that number and talk to the agent directly. It doesn't happen all the time, but it happens. Because we've removed that awkwardness. So you very seldom. I think we've only had one that the agent called the guy back. Oh, well, I didn't really put that information in. You guys must have captured my info. I'm not interested. Well, we don't do that. We don't have any way of capturing info. He did answer all the questions. He just decided later he didn't want to deal with it. But of the 400 leads or so that we've generated, it's the only complaint we've had is that one lead. So they are targeted, they are high intent, high engagement, and they find money.
Absolutely. So Jeff, I appreciate you coming on and explaining this lead. For those of you watching, if this is something that's interesting to you and you say, hey, I want to get more into these advanced market sales. I want to start selling more IULs and annuities, and I'm not having the best of luck of like finding that kind of money in the home on the leads I'm currently using. This is a great way, but I always implore you, go do the training. We have IUL training every single week with David Doring and John Doe. And then we have a backup of a ton of, you should check out the YouTube channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, go through all the Evangeline Broker YouTube videos. We have IUL trainings on there. And then also in the Slack, all the previous weekly trainings are posted in there as well. There's also, once you get your Evangeline Broker's website, you can go there and there's going to be training videos there as well. I promise you, if you watch all those and it's a concerted, you take your time, you watch the video, you take notes, and you're actually paying attention, not something where you're just putting it on and you're cooking dinner at the same time. That's not the same thing. You really want to pay attention to these. And some of the good people that you can reach out to that are good at once you've gotten a baseline, once you've watched some videos and you get some understanding, and maybe you want to take it to the next level, your knowledge base to the next level, you can reach out to John Doe. You can reach out to David Doring. You can reach out to Edward Burns. These are all people that have been doing very well, and they're very trained in IULs and annuities. And so always want to, just put that out. So this is a great option for you, but you got to do the work. Jeff, besides that, is there anything else that you want to put out about this lead?
No, this one. I mean, this one's a slam dunk. They're great leads. They find the money, and we've got some great cases from it. Where the next step is we're testing a new lead that will find the smaller cases. Typically, when someone has a lot of money built up in their retirement accounts, or they have the disposable income to do a high dollar amount IUL, those people are going to be in their 40s, 50s, and 60s.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on a new IUL lead that focuses on the 20s to 30s. They're smaller cases. The leads will cost less, but for those people, those leads are wealth creation because they have time. And so it's a different lead process, probably going to be a direct mail lead, actually. But it will also uncover those that have the high intent, disposable income, and are thinking about their future from a different perspective than protecting themselves against losing their house if something bad happens, which is the mortgage protection lead. This is, hey, you're young enough, you can actually create wealth here, and we've got a licensed agent that can show you how. It's that type of a lead. And so we'll be testing that probably first part of January. So there'll be another type of IUL lead coming up soon.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the IUL lead we have now, really happy with it. Agents are happy with it, and the cases are proving it out. So it's a good lead.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time and coming on and talk to the agents, Jeff. It really means a lot. And for any of the agents watching this, if you're watching this on YouTube, do me a favor, make sure you hit that subscribe button and you turn on your notifications so that you know when we're coming to you each and every weekday, you're getting this information. This has been the ADV1 podcast. I'm your host, Greg Birch. And if you got anything out of this, if you learned anything, if you grew at all, if you enjoyed the topic of conversation, if this helped your business in any way, then do us a favor. Share this content with other people that can also learn and grow and help their business in the same way. That's the fee. Just share this with somebody else that can learn from it. So thank you so much. Until next time, we'll see you guys.
Thanks.